talk about the Jefferson statue removal and see where we're at with that. So, yeah, that's been there for more than a century in New York City Council chamber. It's coming down following a public commission reassessment of the legacy of that founding father, also a slaveholder, enslaved like 600 people. The New York City Public Design Commission voted unanimously Monday to dismantle this 7-foot bronze statue of Jefferson, which has been there since 1915.
We should melt them down and turn them all into rape whistles.
That's not bad.
Remember the rape whistle?
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
It's good.
You probably had one.
I had more than one.
Well, Jefferson famously sired children, plural, with them?
He sired at least 6 with Sally Hennings, who was a slave.
Well, they're all coming down because everyone had slaves back then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but Jefferson sort of, Washington, right?
Yeah. I think every powerful landowner had slaves.
There is talk of lending it to or giving it to the New York Historical Society, but they haven't signed off on whether they're going to do that.
Hot potato.
No.
Yeah, it was funny. I don't know. Whenever Trump did that "good people on both sides" speech, he was like, "It's generals now, but they're coming for Jefferson and they're coming for Washington." Everyone thought he was insane. They're coming. They're going to keep going. This will not be the end of the statues. I think they have to guard. See if I got this one right. I think there's a Christopher Columbus statue that needs cops around it because they're gunning for Columbus. The thing is we build statues to people for shit that they did that we recognize as positive, not for everything that they've done, and especially in their time. There's a Bible quote. I don't even read the Bible, but it'll say Noah was a good man in his day. They figured out that folks are going to be able to judge you differently, but in your day, you were considered good.
Right.
And that's about all we got.
But I feel like, you know how we talk about the pendulum swinging these big swings, and it's like if textbooks when we were in elementary school and high school, whatever, did even 12% better at reflecting the real America, I don't feel like this would be happening. I didn't learn about Japanese internment camps until I was out of college.
You got to hang with George Takei.
But that's what I'm saying. You know, it's like it's so whitewashed and it's so like we get it. Like
and nursery rhymed, like the cherry tree and all that.
Now, in this environment where people are like,
it's Kim Jong-il-ish,
right? Where people are going exactly the other way. I feel like this could have been avoided if we put a little bit more truth into what we're teaching people.
Well, I disagree because I agree in the whitewashing part in the history books, and they were sort of patriotically themed. But I feel like this isn't it's couched as a course correction. But if it was couched and it is couched as a course correction, then we have corrected.
Right.
We do not need to continue. When they talk about, systemic racism, what system in place is in New York City is racist? Tell us what we need to do. What laws need to be passed?
Right.
Where's the 2 drinking fountains? Where's the discrimination at the lunch counter? Like, we have course corrected, and I feel like they're going harder every day. And I feel like, and as you get into the bizarre, like as you get into this Netflix stuff, you can go, well, this community, the black community or the gay community or the whatever, trans community, was not represented on television back in the day. And then you go, okay, now we need to course correct. And now half the movies that are nominated in the Oscars are black films, black actors, black directors. We have course corrected, but we are not stopping. We may have course corrected on taking down a Civil War general from the South. Taking down that is a course correction. We're on the boulders in Jefferson. We're coming for America Vespucci or Americo Vespucci or whatever his name was. Vespucci. Was it Vespucci?
I think so.
Americo Vespucci.
Vespucci.
Yeah,
we're not stopping until everything that will be gone.
No, you're right about that. And then, in that case, you think, well, where's RuPaul and everyone that was at, Stonewall's edible arrangement? Because that was the really scary hard work for that community, right? And now, in many ways, it's like they don't exist.
Drag Race wins the Emmy every year.
As it should.
That is a correction.
Yeah.
Or possibly an overcorrection.
How dare you.
If you are a producer on Survivor.
It's a great game show.
Or Masked Singer, whatever the competition is. All right, so that's coming down. But the other, there's a much more insidious thing that's going on, which is the city council people would state that they didn't feel safe in front of the bronze statue that's been there for 100 years of the dead guy who's been dead for 200 years.
Why was it not bolted down correctly?
That's right. That's the real danger.
Right.
An earthquake. This thing of you are not safe because this thing exists. Horrible message to send to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you're
debilitating.
going to get an argument.
There was a sketch in the mid-'90s on SNL. Not a really celebrated sketch, but a great one about, I think it was about the founding fathers. They figured out how to time travel to the future, to our day. And they're like, we are here to impart our wisdom upon you. You're constantly trying to interpret what we said. So now you can ask us any question about democracy or the founding of the country or philosophy. And all the reporters wanted to ask was like, did you really own slaves? Like, they just like the most basic question. It's like, we're here to impart wisdom to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe think of that.
Well, let's switch gears a little. I haven't talked about it because there really haven't been any new developments, but here's something maybe. It sounds like officials may be zeroing in on Brian Laundrie. Unclear, though, if he's still alive. Human remains were found in the same area where his backpack was found on Wednesday, but there's no confirmation that they're his, but they were next to his stuff.
Fake death.
Very possible. His parents directed police to this place.
Hey, look at that bag of bones over there.
The Miakahatchee Creek Environmental Park in Florida, saying they were going there to search for him. After a few minutes, they found some of his personal belongings off a trail that he was known to use. A medical examiner has been called to the scene. Laundrie, not seen or heard from in more than a month following the disappearance and death of girlfriend Gabby Petito in Wyoming, who we now know was strangled and possibly moved to another location.
How did the parents direct? They directed him?
Supposedly directed him or the cops?
His
The
parents
cops.
directed police to an area in the Miakahatchee Creek Park in Florida.
Supposedly, their cover story is, or the story is, they're looking for him on a trail he's known to use.
Want to join us? This is
look
where
what we
he
found.
Right.
Oh.
Go back to that flower bed.
My mom would drop a dime on me so fast if I was accused of murder and hiding in a nearby park.
She had a dime. Man.
If she had a dime, she would borrow a dime from my stepdad and drop it on me immediately.
Yeah.
That was always, I always, as much as I made fun of those mothers, I always loved the mothers whose 15-year-old gangbanger was accused of shooting the girl in the park, and they were up there screaming and fighting with the cops and saying, my baby would never do that. My mom would not put up such an argument.
No.
Very convinced.
Do you think Adam's capable of killing another human being? Well, I can't say that I know every
capable of
thought
anything.
that runs through his head.
How would I know that?
Do you think that he has murder in his soul?
How should I know?
Well, I mean, you're his mom. We're trying to figure out whether he's capable of taking another life.
How would I know that?
Well, you ostensibly raised him, I guess, clinically, I suppose.
How should I know?
What? So, could he murder or not? Because
How should I know?
Well, we're going to take him to Sing Sing if you don't put up some sort of viable argument.
How can you possibly expect me to answer that?
That's Dave Damashek's
Your mom go to the mat for you.
super uncomfortable laughter. Dave was so wildly uncomfortable.
After his mom knew every bit of the
Almost
show.
before the question was done.
His mom is literally sitting in Beaver Creek, Pennsylvania, answering every single question about a show that does not make it into her town.
Doesn't air in Pennsylvania.
And my mom, who lives 4 miles away from the studio, cannot summon an answer on any of the questions. And at some point, Dave became so uncomfortable with his mom mopping the floor with my mom.
At that point, I'm not sure we aired in that time zone.
Oh, in
the Eastern time zone?
Oh, we were like up and down the coast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She listened on the computer.
Yep.
That's
when
how,
that was like, you had to do a little digging.
Yes, she was that dedicated to her son, which explains Damashek. Yes.
But you weren't uncomfortable because this was right on schedule for you.
Well, my mom, see,
He was smugly pretty.
Dave,
Right.
there's a inherent flaw in Dave and Dave's mom's thinking, which is in this trivia competition where we're going to put my mom against Dave Damashek's mom and ask them trivia about the Adam Carolla show. That's her son. And we knew Dave's mom would know more, even though she didn't. You couldn't get a radio signal
Right.
to where she was. She would have to scour the internet and find it. Dave was uncomfortable on behalf of my mom. So if anybody ever, sometimes if your folks or grandparents or something have a senior moment,
Yeah.
they will say, like, and my dad's done this, he's 90, he'll go, how's Sonny and and it's like
Just roll with
life.
it's really uncomfortable,
Right.
like because all right, they're uncomfortable,
Right.
like they can't think of the name of the grandkid,
Right.
So Dave was uncomfortable on behalf of my mom. My mom was angry.
Yes.
Now my mom should have been.
Confused?
She should have been uncomfortable
Yeah.
because we're asking a trivia question. No different than, well, what are your grandkids'
Right.
names? Or
You get
what-
the same answer.
What was Adam's favorite sport growing up, or favorite flavor of ice cream? Like not knowing
How
any of
should
that
I
stuff,
know?
kind of. And people do that. Like when you argue with somebody and they go, a wife, a child, a neighbor, they go, you don't pay any attention, and they go, name one of my best friends. Let's just name the name of one of anyone that's had that sort of spousal argument where you're into your friends, you're into your shit, you don't even know.
Name one thing I got for you for Christmas
Right.
last year.
There's a lot of that, and then you're on the spot
Right.
because if
Ta-da.
you can't name
Right.
one of their friends, then maybe you're not paying that close of attention.
Maybe they're right. And she's not just wrong, she's righteously indignant.
Yeah.
Right. But Dave, who thinks like a human being because he came from his mom, and his mom is mopping the floor with my mom, is feeling so uncomfortable. And my mom's not experiencing any of it.
No.
Which, by the way, if she would experience it, it would make her a decent mom.
Yes.
But
Oh God, I'm so humiliated. I'm so sorry, Adam.
Yeah, do the Dave drop laugh one more time. This is my mom is angry
Right.
and Dave is uncomfortable.
How can you possibly expect me to answer that?
Yeah, there wasn't Dave Noel guffaw. I was like, oh boy.
Oh
Better hold this back.
Right. Yeah. So it was an uncomfortable moment, but
You're
not
right.
for my mom who didn't know anything about her son's radio show.
Right.
Only Dave
Must be nice.
and his mom.
She went
Hey,
right
what?
back to muffin making afterwards.
Yeah, it must be nice. Yeah.
Do you remember the name Kristen Smart? Mm-hmm. Remember how she disappeared
yeah.
from like her college dorm after a party or whatever? The reason I bring it up because I was like, God, this story's starting to sound familiar. And we
I
talked.
thought it was a cute blonde actress who was in all those
Elizabeth Smart.
90s movies.
Elizabeth Smart.
Yeah, was that Elizabeth
Yes,
Smart?
it was.
Yes, it was.
Well, this was the one that was kidnapped, like in San Luis Obispo or whatever.
Amy Smart. Sorry, Amy Smart.
Elizabeth
Amy
sounded
Smart.
weird to me.
Amy Smart.
Who's Amy Smart?
You-
1,000
very
movies from the
recognizable.
late 90s.
Oh.
She had a
Okay.
good run, yeah, from like
Very good run.
98 to 08.
The reason I bring her up is because there was all this like hubbub, like did this guy kill her, like that went to her college, and there was lots of meandering around his parents' garden, and they
Really?
and there was all because I listened to a podcast about it.
Right
We
out
talked-
of the playbook.
Yeah, we talked about it on Easy Listening like a million times, and like they dug up the backyard but didn't dig up this part, and like just all these ways that it was bungled. And the newest thing about that is Ruben, the guy who was accused, and I think his father are both charged because the father was the one that was like trying to protect his son and
Harboring him underground?
maybe finding a body underground of Kristen Smart. So there are plenty of parents out there that just love their son better than your mom loves
Put
you.
the picture of Amy Smart.
Amy Smart was very attractive, but gettable feasibly. Like you could buy that stoner Tom Green could have her
Yes.
as a girlfriend.
Right.
Because while she was beautiful, she seemed kind of universal
Not a threat.
and you could get her.
She
was-
looks like a poor woman's Cameron Diaz.
Do you recognize
Yes.
her?
Not really.
She was in Road Trip. She was
Okay.
in Butterfly Effect. She
Okay.
was in Just Friends. She had
Yeah,
a
there's
lot
a
of-
reason I don't recognize
These are all
her.
great movies.
She was
Yeah.
in tons of
see
later
any of these.
90s movies. She was all over the place in the 90s and then hasn't appeared anywhere, but you can't say that because there's
Should be on- should be on
7,000.
Netflix show, probably.
She's filming something, and 2 things have been completed. And she was on a show called Stargirl. It looks like she starred in.
There's a star girl.
Next week, Anne Heche is coming in, and they're in a movie together.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
All right.
Is it either Rally Caps, Tyson's Run, or 13 minutes?
13 minutes.
Okay, cool. Because those
The
are
new
the projects that have been completed.
the new world order, and it's an interesting wiring, which is there's 700,000 outlets for entertainment, streaming services and platforms, and the Ring doorbell network, and everything has something. I watch 7 shows, and if you're not on any of my UFC shows or how to rebuild a hot rod show, you're not working in Hollywood anymore. I have decided.
That's your decree?
That's how that works. I watch one Fast and Furious movie a year. If you're not in it, or not in any of my UFC shows or any of my hot rod shows,
Pound
I then, by decree, you've not worked in 20 years. But then whenever we go look the person up, they're on all the shows.
They're very busy.
That I don't watch.
I off the top of my head, guess she was big from 98 to like 08. I was pretty close. She broke out in Varsity Blues in 99. And then her last sort of big mainstream role was in Crank with Jason Statham in 06.
That's right.
Well done.
Do you remember the Crank?
That's good.
Was
Buzz.
Buzz. We got to find, maybe Giovanni can find. Can you find Buzz? That was the Deaf Frat Guys
Trailer.
For
So, Gina, are you familiar with the premise of Crank?
No.
Of Crank?
No.
Oh, Crank's actually a very good movie for what it is. So it's an absurd high-concept movie where Jason Statham is injected with this serum by an enemy, and he must keep his heart rate above a certain, 100 beats per minute.
Oh, it's speed for humans.
Or else he dies.
Right.
So he
Like
must
the bus.
constantly
Speed for
be
humans.
stimulating
Right.
himself. At
Okay.
one point, he and Amy Smart have sex in the middle of an intersection.
I
Public
see.
sex, to keep his heart rate
I
going.
see.
It's very Dwight Yoakam, very fun in that movie, and that was when Deaf Frat Guy did a takeoff. That was the first year of the radio show, 06.
Oh, was
Wow.
Yeah, well, it coincided.
it? Well, yeah, because you saw the movie. Do we have that? Or we can find that, maybe?
We're looking. The file I have is corrupted.
Buzz.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to hear
the
that.
Gypsies got to it.
That's a funny take on it. All right.
Okay, we have the audio. We can.
Oh, you have the audio? All right, let's do it.
We have the trailer for Buzz, which is here it is. Pink Statham movie.
2008, Lake Havasu. In a world where the party never ends. His trouble is
was
just
Angie.
starting.
My name is Maverick, and this spring break could be my last.
A fraternity president is poisoned
I've been
and
poisoned.
has to maintain a 4-beer buzz.
My buzz level is getting dangerously low.
Boys, dead drunk. Jason Statham is Maverick, the deaf frat guy.
I'm coming for you, Blake Chambers, and my potato gun's coming with me.
With special appearances by Poochie, Moose, and Mike F.
Maverick, if you stop drinking, you die.
And the Pussycat Dolls as the Gypsies.
I'm handing with these motherfucking gypsies on this motherfucking houseboat.
Yeah, a little bit of sticks on plane.
Buzz. If he's not wasted, his life is. This film is not yet rated.
I'd like to see that.
Nice
I would see that.
pull. Yeah. All right, let's do one more, Gina Grant.
All right, let's see what we got. Ooh, so let's talk a little Hooter uniform news, because I don't know if you've seen these. They are getting smaller. So this is the time to
I
go
saw
get
this story.
yourself some wings and a hot dog. Servers not happy, at least a lot of them aren't. Hooters has had the same uniform for years, but just got a little update. Now it's even skimpier. It looks like a sort of like a half G-string pair of underwear.
Bikini pants.
Yeah, I'll show you. Here's what it looks like. So it seems the shorts are now not even hot pants. They're literally just like G-string, like leotard backs. Apparently, the change isn't at all locations. So these are just ones owned by Hooters of America. Apparently, it's franchised out. But that's the new look while you take the family for lunch.
I saw some pictures, and I saw that you could wear them this way or that way. Like you could ride them up or pull them down. Now, this picture
doesn't look like
look
you-
like that.
Yeah.
The pictures I saw gave you an option of going low or going high.
Pictures you studied?
The pictures I
poured
studied.
over?
I think I saw it with your boy on TMZ. I think they had a sort of Derek. Yeah, I think they had an A and a B.
Well, apparently this is one of the choices.
Well, Hooters is probably desperately trying to kind of hang on to some market share that's been slipping or drying up for them for a long time.
But why do you think that is?
Oh, some of it, it's
Novelty
probably
wore
about,
off?
well, the thing about companies, we're talking about Netflix versus Blockbuster Video or something, like just because you're dominate the market in the mid 90s
Right.
doesn't mean you got to move and innovate and
Right.
change.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Not forget, we had to send away for Netflix discs.
Right.
That's how the
That's how
company
it started.
started. Yeah.
Right.
They're the
You-
leading streamer.
You've
for
got to
whatever.
keep moving.
Right.
And then also, it's funny, I just had this thought when Mark Garagos came in here hour and a half ago. He handed me a Perrier. And he said, like, here's some French bubbly or old school bubbly or something. And I thought to myself, I didn't say it, but I was thinking, Perrier was around for 44 years. And then somebody said, well, maybe we should make carbonated
Right.
something that tastes like something and
Right.
put it in a can. Like, they had a run of, if
Yep.
you wanted something carbonated that tasted citrusy, you had a Perrier. And nobody even stepped into the market for 50 years.
Until LaCroix came
Now
in.
there's
and
200
then,
million things
Right.
on there. And, Hooters had a nice run. And then everyone, Tilted Kilt or whatever,
Buffalo
these
Wild
Buffalo
Wings.
Wild,
Yeah.
all these other
Lumberjills.
places jumped in. And when
Right.
they jump in, they innovate, they do it better. They're not set in their ways. And have some old guy
Right.
who lives in one of the Carolinas who goes, over my dead body, we changing the colors of orange. That's the
Right.
future, So now they're having to, and by the way, when you change and you have to kind of do it in big lurches.
Right.
And then it all feels clumsy because you've not been slowly.
Evolving.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of the difference between being in shape and having 2 weeks to lose 30 pounds. It's a different
Understood.
approach. Yes, and that's what Hooters
Well,
is
and
doing.
that's so funny because Hooters has always been sort of the punchline, the thing we go to for like, oh, Hooters girls, skimpy. And apparently the hot pants and tank top were getting a little too puritanical.
There was I think we did a man show bit way back when, Max Zapatas, and I'm going to walk down memory lane. We did a Hooters send up on a man show bit that I never talk about on the show.
I don't remember that.
I wasn't in it, I don't think. I don't think I wrote it. But I don't know if it was called Beavers or something like that. There's a man show
Shocking.
Go on.
bit that's a Hooters send up that
Hams.
I can't remember what the angle was, but we did Hooters was ubiquitous.
Sure.
They went from, I don't know, 86% of that
Yeah.
market to 4%
Right.
in the last 20 years, and now they're trying to claw their way back in. All right, we'll see if we can find that. Bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, last but not least, at least before we break, there's X Chair. From the first moment I sat in my X Chair, I thought, where have you been my entire life? I love this stuff. And again, we all have X Chairs in here. I'm sitting on mine now and loving it. But I bought an X Chair and put it in my home office years and years ago because they're that good. And your current office chair doesn't have massage or heat or cool down. X Chair has all of that. LMX, massage and temperature regulation exclusively designed for your X Chair. Plus, the customized support of the X Chair's patented dynamic variable lumbar, or what they call DVL. You can try the X Chair for yourself risk-free for 30 days. Get a good chair, get a good TV, and get a good mattress, people, because that's where you're going to spend all your time. Once you realize how much better your chair should be, you'll never go back. Right, Dawson?
Go to xchairadam.com now. That's the letter X, chair, ADAM.com, or call 1-844-4XChair for $100 off your order. X-Chair has a 30-day guarantee of complete comfort, and you can finance your purchase for as little as $30 a month. xchairadam.com.
There's a man show bit, maybe from season 4. I don't even know what this one
Season
was.
3. I think it's like banned commercials or something like that.
What it's called. All right.
In the mood for something different? Then Then come into Beavers, America's favorite new theme
The
restaurant.
logo.
Beavers.
Oh my.
Good times, great drinks,
No bottoms.
and mouth-watering food that'll leave you saying, "We love Beavers."
Bottomless chicks everywhere.
I want the clam strips.
And I'll have the big beaver.
The Big Beaver, done any way you like it. So how do you like your Big Beaver?
I like my big beaver hot and juicy with lots of cheese.
I like my big beaver pink in the middle.
We come here all the time.
Lesbians.
I love golf.
For a nice picnic, try our box lunches.
Beavers, there's one opening up near you.
That's brilliant. That's good.
Or we must have done an outdoor themed man show. That's probably what it was.
So you weren't there for the taping of that? What were they wearing?
So we would have these kind of arguments with the middle-aged women who ran Comedy Central.
Oh, you don't
all the
say.
time. Like, we want to do this bit called Beavers, and they'd go, well, how's that going to work? Well, everyone is bottomless. Like, it's like Hooters, except for this is Beavers, and everyone's bottomless. And they go, okay, but you can't show that. And then they'd go, whoa, wait a minute. What if we just put them in, beige tight panties? And they'd go, well, you could show that, but that would kind of ruin the joke if everyone's supposed to be naked. And then we were like, well, what if we put them in the beige panties and then we just tiled out the vagina part, and then it would look like
as though
they were like at some point they're like, oh fuck it, just go do what you want to do. I'll see you in hell.
Negotiations.
Yeah, because we'd be negotiating all the time. Well, we could film them in panties that were beige, and why can't we just blur out the crotch of the panties that are beige? Right. And they were like, that's how 3/4 ass shorts came about. We're like, how much ass crack can you show? They're like, I don't know. Well, like if you're doing a plumbing bid on SNL, you could have a plumber have ass crack, right? Yeah. So we could show some ass crack. Yeah. Well, how much? They're like, I don't know. We've never really figured it out. I'm like, well, could we do half-ass crack? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, well, you couldn't show back sack or back vag, but 3/4. I guess you could say, we go, all right, fine. And we just invented 3/4 ass crack shorts. See, they got tired of arguing with us over everything all the time.
I can imagine these women just being like, this is not the job I thought I signed up for. Like every day from 9 to 5, these two idiots come into the office and basically trying to get Comedy Central taken down.
Our executive was Debbie Liebling, whose father was a celebrated author called A.J. Liebling, I think, who wrote The Sweet Science, one of the most celebrated boxing books ever. So when she showed up at, Comedy Central, she thought she was going to be working with the Ab Fab girls.
That's what I'm talking about.
And she ended up with us.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And it was always right. It was always, some British sketch show or something. And she liked me. So I was always the one who had to call and negotiate. She'd had to.
Well, did you work the boxing angle?
I didn't even know her dad. Oh, maybe I must have known that at the time. It was just Jimmy and Daniel annoyed her so much that she would scream at them over the speakerphone and like hang up and stuff. And then I'd call back, hey, Debbie, it's Adam now.
Hey,
I'm a reasonable guy. Yeah. We can talk here. I'm on your side. Now, how much ass crack? That's how every conversation was about.
Now, what's it going to take?
Everything we wanted to shoot was something they didn't want us to shoot.
Yeah.
But there were no rules or laws, really.
I'd sure like to have her on.
That would be interesting.
I'm already looking.
Where's Debbie Liebling? Is she retired?
Well, no, after Comedy Central. So she was EP in South Park, which
oh God,
you prepared her,
right?
And then she switched over to Fox, where she oversaw production for Dodgeball and Borat.
Oh wow!
And then,
the movies,
right?
And then she was promoted to Fox Atomic, but that shut down early '09. So I'm trying to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it would be interesting to get her recollection.
I'd love to see this from her perspective.
Those days, when you are, these are attractive women who are trying to become more attractive. Mm-hmm. That's an hour in the makeup chair. Trying to get from a dude to a chick, that could be 3 hours in the makeup chair. That's a bigger chasm. Yep. Trying to get from dude to chick versus chick to more presentable chick.